Fearless secretary reveals incredible truth about the millionaire CEO, changing lives forever. In the heart of Maplewood, whispers invaded the air like autumn leaves swept by the wind, each secret more explosive than the last. Jessica, a determined 28-year-old secretary, sat at her cluttered desk, the small office humming with activity. She lived for her family, pouring every ounce of her soul into balancing her mother's declining health and her younger brother's dreams of engineering. But when Tom, the town's millionaire CEO, was accused of manipulating his way into success, the fragility of her world trembled. The warm, golden light of fall enveloped Maplewood as beauty masked the brewing storm. Jessica felt the shift deeply. This wasn't just a corporate scandal. It was about her neighbors, her friends, the community that raised her. She prided herself on her work ethic, but with each passing day of doubt surrounding Tom's rumored exploitation, a daunting choice loomed before her. Could she remain loyal to the workplace that paid her bills while confronting the ugly truth brewing beneath the town's idolization? One chilly afternoon, while sorting through paperwork, her fingers brushed against a file that sent shivers down her spine. Inside lay solid evidence. Tom's empire had been built on labor injustices that decimated livelihoods. Real lives, fathers, mothers, families struggled, and the bitter taste of betrayal lodged in her throat. Everything she believed about American opportunity shattered like glass. "Jessica, did you hear about Tom's new charity initiative?" A colleague chimed, the admiration in his voice sharp and painful. In the ensuing office meeting, the atmosphere thickened with tension as voices erupted in passionate defense of Tom. They were blinded by his charm, neglecting the undercurrents of suffering surrounding them. Feeling a swell of determination, she spoke up, her voice steady yet trembling. "These workers are more than statistics. They are our neighbors." Silence enveloped the room before murmurs rippled through the crowd. Shocked expressions danced on faces, igniting discussions of loyalty and the American dream. Just as hope flickered, an unexpected eviction notice for her mother arrived, her heart crumbling like autumn leaves underfoot. The stakes had risen, forcing her to weigh the cost of truth against family loyalty. With the weight of her choices tightening in her chest, Jessica made a pivotal decision. She needed to act. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue rallying her neighbors. She organized a town hall meeting, where stories of hardship transformed into a bridge between desperation and hope. The quiet urgency of those who shared their struggles ricocheted through the crowded room. They were not alone. They were fighters, merely seeking a chance. But just as victory appeared within grasp, a scholarship opportunity surfaced for her brother, courtesy of Tom's charity. Torn between familial love and the fight for justice, Jessica felt the walls closing in. As Tom smiled for the cameras, promising to help Maplewood, she stood paralyzed, her heart racing. Loyalty to family or loyalty to truth? As the town square buzzed with unease, Jessica's world hung in the balance. Would she discover the courage to confront the giant, Tom, her brother's newfound benefactor, as the community's very definition of integrity and resilience blurred beneath the harsh light of reality? Each heartbeat echoed her distress, leaving Maplewood and the reader waiting, longing for the moment of truth. The town hall meeting echoed with stories, tears, and a shared resolve. Jessica stood at the front, her heart hammering in her chest, feeling the weight of every eye upon her. Each voice brought the community closer together, turning anger and betrayal into something stronger, a sense of unity. But her brother's scholarship loomed like a shadow in the back of her mind. Would they support her fight for truth, or would they condemn her for jeopardizing his future? The ideal image of Tom, the man who had made his fortune, clashed with the reality that had just unfurled in front of her. She took a deep breath, longing to escape this tether of choice. "Jessica," a voice broke through her thoughts, pulling her back into focus. It was Angela, the favor-wielding mother of the town's elite, having become increasingly vocal about her support for Tom. Don't let this tarnish the good he has done. Think about the kids, the scholarship. Angela's words dripped with concern, but Jessica felt something change in the air. Sympathy or manipulation? She couldn't help but ask herself. We're talking about lives, Angela. Families are suffering for his success, Jessica countered, meeting her gaze with fierce determination. Murmurs of agreement hummed through the crowd. It wasn't just her fight anymore. It was theirs too. However, Angela wasn't finished. With a sharp smile, she added, what do you think will happen to your mother if this blows up, Jess? You can't forget about the ones who depend on you. Her expression hardened, a warning wrapped in a false jest. A chill ran down Jessica's spine. Angela's words felt like ice, and they cut deep. She glanced at her brother, sitting among the gathering, unsure and innocent. The scholarship could open doors for him, but at what cost? The thought twisted in her gut. Across the room, Tom walked in, his presence commanding. With his sleek suit and confident smile, he projected warmth, but the facade felt like a film over reality. It took everything within her not to reach for the evidence. She had proof of his deceit. How could he betray those who idolized him so easily? As Tom approached Angela, exchanging pleasantries, Jessica felt sickened. The applause and admiration from the crowd were deafening. They cheered like moths flocking to a flame, oblivious to the darkness wrapped around it. Jessica closed her eyes, taking a deep breath to steady her nerves. Once he took the podium, Tom spoke of progress, of charity work, of neighbors helping neighbors. Every word felt like a knife against the truth Jessica held inside. The contrast of his polished act and the bustling pain in the community made her stomach churn. And then it happened. Tom turned, his gaze sweeping over the crowd, landing on Jessica. I've heard you're concerned about my charity work. Let me assure you, I only wish to help our community thrive, he declared, his voice smooth but underlined with challenge. The challenge was clear. He was calling her out, daring her to step forward with her accusations. But as the weight of the moment hung in the air, Jessica's heart raced. The community watched, the tension palpable. Could she risk everything in this moment? Her dreams for her brother, her mother's health, would they crumble if she stood against the man they idolized? Just then, something snapped inside her. I can't stay silent any longer, she whispered fiercely to herself, stepping forward. And as she did, doubt fled, leaving only determination. But before she could speak, the door swung open, revealing a figure that made her heart drop. It was someone she hadn't expected, the missing piece that could change everything. Would this revelation be the catalyst she needed to forge a path toward justice? Or would it only serve to shatter what little control she had left? Before Jessica could process the figure at the door, the room fell silent. Every head turned, eyes widened. It was Lisa, the secretary who had always been in the background, shuffling papers and answering phones. But today, there was a fire in her eyes that Jessica had never seen before. Lisa? Jessica's voice shook slightly, unsure whether this was indeed the ally she needed or just another layer of the complicated web surrounding Tom. Lisa strode forward, her steps steady. She wore a simple blouse and slacks, but there was something regal in her posture. I have something important to say, she announced, her voice slicing through the tension like a razor. What do you mean? Tom interjected, his smile fading. He adjusted his suit coat, a tiny gesture that spoke volumes about his discomfort. It's about the charity, and your donations, Lisa continued, unwavering. Jessica felt her heart leap. Was this the key to unraveling Tom's carefully crafted image? I've seen the records. I know where the money goes, Lisa continued, her voice a steady crescendo of conviction. The truth is, it doesn't go to the community the way you claim. A ripple of gasps spread through the crowd. Tom's face darkened, shadows creeping into his charming facade. Let us not confuse generosity with baseless accusations, Lisa. You're not equipped to understand the complexities. But Lisa brushed him off, her eyes fierce. I understand enough to know when something isn't right. The money is funneled to personal projects, not the families you promised to help. She stepped closer to the podium, the gathering morphing into a living audience of astonishment. Families are suffering. I've seen it myself. You can't keep pretending. Jessica felt a spark of hope dance within her. Could Lisa really be the ally she needed all along? What if together they were strong enough to open the truth like a blooming flower. What are you saying? Angela's voice, usually so commanding, trembled with doubt. Lisa took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. What I'm saying is that the scholarship your brother received, Jessica, is just a smokescreen. There are strings attached to it. Strings that could pull down your family. Jessica felt a knot of fear in her stomach. What do you mean, strings? Tom ties scholarships to promises that benefit his projects. Your brother's success and well-being could depend on decisions that are made behind closed doors, decisions held hostage by Tom's greed. A rush of disbelief flooded Jessica's veins. You're saying Tom's goodwill is a lie? That he is holding my brother over a barrel? Lisa nodded, her resolve clear. It's time the truth comes out. For your brother, for all of us. As a murmur rose in the crowd, Jessica understood this was less about money and power than it was about integrity. Lisa's revelation had suddenly transformed the battle into a rallying cry for the community. Tom's eyes darted among the people in the room, trying to gauge the shifting tide. You mustn't listen to her. His voice cracked, a glimpse of desperation leaking through his confident armor, but freedom shone in the air. Jessica took a step to the side, her heart racing as she caught Lisa's eye. Enough is enough. She called out. We deserve better. Our community deserves better. Just then, the lights flickered overhead. It was a small disturbance, but in that moment, uncertainty seeped back into the room. Was this the beginning of a new fight, or the end of something they had all held dear for too long? And as Jessica stood, united next to Lisa, she knew they were about to reveal the secret that could change everything. But would the community rally behind them, or would fear clip their wings before they could take flight? The room held its breath, a collective pause as Jessica's heartbeat thrummed in her ears. Shadows flickered across faces now etched with confusion and fear. The once beautifully decorated hall had morphed into a battlefield. Jessica glanced at Lisa, taking in her fierce determination. This was no ordinary office worker. This was a woman ready to fight for justice, and for the community. We need to stand together, Jessica urged, her voice rising above the murmurs. Suddenly, a soft voice broke through the noise. What proof do we have? It was Mark, a local father whose struggles echoed within the very walls surrounding them. How do we know this isn't just talk? Lisa turned, those fierce eyes now softening for just a moment. I have documents. Emails that show how funding is rerouted. I've been documenting everything for months. She knelt down, rummaging in her bag. But I need your support. We can't take him down alone. A flicker of doubt hung in the air. Would they believe them? Could they rally behind a woman they hardly knew? But then, another voice chimed in. It was Sarah, a longtime volunteer at the charity, holding back tears. I've heard things too. I didn't want to believe it. But we all have seen families struggle while Tom boasts about his generosity. Jessica felt a surge of warmth wash over her. See, we're not alone. This isn't just Lisa's battle or mine, it's ours. Together, we can change our future. A palpable shift occurred, and little by little, the mood transformed. People began to nod, whispers turned into agreements, and the gathering felt more like a united front than just a crowd of individuals. Angela stood up, restoring her commanding tone. We need to see the evidence, Lisa. If what you say is true, then this can't go unanswered. As Lisa retrieved the first of many papers, Jessica caught a glimmer of hope ignite in her heart. But then Tom erupted with indignation, his voice sharp as glass. You're playing a dangerous game, Lisa. This is not only slander, but it will ruin lives. Do you realize the ripple effect this will have? Or maybe it's time for the truth to break the chains of silence. Lisa shot back, unfazed. The confidence in her voice stirred something deep within the audience, a reminder of why they had all come together in the first place. No more secrets, Jessica yelled, feeling her own inspiration swell. Our community stands behind us. We deserve to live free from deception. The crowd erupted, a mix of applause and cheers, the energy surging like electricity. But in an instant, a cloud settled back in. What if he comes after us? Sarah's voice trembled. What if he uses his connections against us? An uneasy silence fell as the implications of that question loomed. Anxiety clawed its way back into the atmosphere. But Jessica, fueled by Lisa's unwavering spirit, knew they couldn't back down. Together, we will find a way. One voice can spark change, but a chorus demands it. Just then, Lisa began to pull out the papers, revealing the staggering evidence that could topple Tom's empire. The room leaned in, hoping for that first glimpse into the truth. But as soon as Lisa laid them bare, the fire alarm blared, piercing through their moment, echoing through the hall like a siren of uncertainty. The lights flickered again, casting their lingering fears into stark relief. The plug of hesitation sparked in Jessica's mind. Could they really pull this off? Would this crisis blow them further apart, or against all odds lead them toward resolution? The atmosphere crackled with tension. Would fear turn them back into shades of silence? Or would it solidify their resolve for what lay ahead? The alarm's piercing wail seemed to stretch time itself. Jessica felt a surge of panic wrap around her heart, but then she glanced at Lisa. The fire alarm could transform into a crucial moment, or it could rip apart their fragile unity. "Stay calm," Lisa shouted, her voice slicing through the chaos. "We can't let this intimidate us." People shuffled, the urgency palpable as they exchanged worried glances. Jessica took a deep breath, her mind racing. This was the moment they'd been waiting for, and they couldn't let it go to waste. "Get everyone out safely," Jessica called, her voice steady despite the rising tide of fear. "But hold on to each other." People instinctively clustered together, moving toward the exits, but lingering half-heartedly. They were reluctant to abandon the promise of real change, the taste of rebellion that had ignited among them. Jessica pushed against the current, her heart pounding in her chest. "We need to regroup outside." Mark, with his brows knitted together, yelled back, "What if it's just a drill? What if we're getting played? Then we go out, we wait, and we come back." Angela chimed in, her authority crackling in the air like static. "If this is what it takes to get the truth out, we won't be disbanded by a simple noise." With each shout, a flicker of strength built in Jessica's heart. Where moments before there had been uncertainty and fear, now a fire of determination fueled her steps. Families had been torn apart, futures squashed by Tom's greed. And she'd be damned if they let that voice of corruption derail them. Now they made their way outside. The fluorescent lights gave way to the pale glow of twilight. The whistle of sirens joined the chaos, sending a wave of nerves through the crowd. People huddled together, looking up at the building as if waiting for it to swallow them whole or belch forth the truth they desperately sought. "Lisa, show us the documents now," someone shouted from the back. Hope hung on every breath as the crowd turned to Lisa. "Right," she said, nodding. "But we must stay focused. We've come too far to let fear stop us." She unfolded the first paper, her hand trembling only slightly. Jessica leaned in, curiosity burning in her chest. "What do you have?" "The emails," Lisa replied, flipping pages with urgency. "Here, this one reveals how funds meant for community development were redirected. And this one, Tom's name appears in connections I never would have imagined." The words flowed out like a cascade, igniting reactions all around them. Gasps followed the public's growing realization of betrayal. Whispers transformed into accusations. "It's all right here. He pockets everything while we struggle," another voice cried, emboldened by the shift. Jessica felt her own spine straighten. "And he can't hide forever," she added, rallying everyone's attention. "We will show them that unity is stronger than any lie." But as that final note resonated in the air, a black SUV screeched to a halt nearby. The tension in the group escalated into something electric. From the vehicle stepped a figure cloaked in darkness, with an aura that demanded attention. Tom's smirk was unmistakable, despite the chaos he had unleashed. "Is this your idea of a revolution?" he sneered, glaring at them as though hunting for weaknesses. Jessica's heart raced. The air grew thick and suffocating, but hope flickered like a flame. This was not the end. Everything had led to this moment, a confrontation that could shatter the lies or crush their resolve. Would they stand their ground against the man who had inflicted pain for too long, or crumble under his shadow? The stakes had never been higher, and as Jessica looked at her friends, she felt the pulse of something powerful. The battle for their community had only just begun. But would they rise together or fall apart? Tom took a step forward, the shadows of the fading daylight stretching behind him like a curtain. The crowd flinched, a wave of uncertainty rippling through the human tide. Jessica felt the tremor of fear in the air, but it mingled with a fierce resolve. This was their moment, and they couldn't let it slip through their fingers. "Why don't you take your little act somewhere else?" Mark shouted, stepping in front of Jessica. His fists were clenched at his sides, muscles taut with tension. "We know what you've done, Tom. Your time is up." Tom's smirk only widened, that undeniable arrogance twisting his features into something almost grotesque. "Your little rebellion, how quaint," he replied, sarcasm dripping from his words. "You think a few papers can change anything? You really believe you hold the power here?" Angela surged forward, catching Jessica's eye. "Let him talk. We're not afraid." Her confidence bolstered Jessica, anchoring her fears to a flicker of hope. The crowd stood tall, and their murmured agreement became an anthem. "We are done cowering," shouted one woman, her voice rising above the others. "You don't own us anymore." Tom's expression shifted slightly, irritation surfacing. It was just a crack in his facade, but it fueled the fire within Jessica. "You're lying to yourself if you think this is going to change anything for you," he replied, his tone shifting from mocking to dangerously serious. "Once I'm done here, you'll forget all about this. You'll wish you had stayed silent." Before Jessica could respond, Lisa put her hand on Jessica's arm, focusing attention back on her. "Tom," she said, her voice steady despite the fear wrapped around her heart. "We have proof. It won't just be whispers anymore. The truth is coming out, and it will blow your lies wide open." The air around them seemed to crackle with unspoken words. For a moment, it felt like every heartbeat echoed a collective resolve. Jessica's thoughts swirled. She knew they couldn't afford to show weakness now. Every face around her radiated impatience, anger, and the powerful need for change. Tom scoffed, feigning annoyance as he took a step back, trying to reassert the upper hand. "Who do you think will take you seriously? You're nothing but untrained kids playing at being grown-ups." The crowd responded with shouts of protest, invigorated by Tom's dismissive words. Jessica's heart raced as she absorbed the reaction. If the lines had ever blurred between fear and power, this moment had drawn them clear. "That's where you're wrong," she called out, raising her voice over the noise. "We might not have your wealth, but we have something you can never have: unity. We will not stand idly by anymore." Tom's expression darkened, his confidence faltering under the pressure of the crowd. "You think this will end well for you? People like me don't get toppled by little rebellions. I have connections." Power. His words trailed off when he saw Lisa pull out her phone, fingers flashing across the screen. "Then we'll see how far your connections stretch," Lisa replied, her gaze unwavering. "This is bigger than you now. We're about to make sure the world knows the truth. Your time is running out." Tom's eyes narrowed, and a flash of anger flickered across his face. The threat hung in the air, palpable and real. Jessica saw droplets of sweat bead on his forehead, a small victory that delighted her. But just as she felt the tide of confidence rising, an anxious shoving through the crowd caught her attention. A police officer, flashing his badge, stepped into the fray. "What is happening here?" he barked, scanning the scene like a hawk. Jessica's mind raced again. Would the officer side with them or with Tom? This was another twist they hadn't planned for, and the collective breath of the crowd seemed to hold tight in their chests. As tensions rose again, one question surged to the forefront. Was their fight for truth about to boil over into chaos, or could they salvage the moment? The answer could change everything they had fought for. Would they stand firm, or would this be the moment that split their unity apart? The police officer scanned the crowd, his eyes narrowing as he focused on Tom. The tension was electric, a tightrope stretched between the weight of authority and the desperate hope rising within the group. The murmurs among the crowd turned sharper, anticipation crackling in the air. "Everyone, please step back," the officer commanded, raising his hands as he took a cautious step closer to Tom. "I need to understand what is happening here. There's no need for violence." Tom straightened, shifting into a persona of feigned calmness. "Officer, I assure you, these folks are just misguided," he said, glancing at the crowd like a snake sizing up prey. "I'm here to help. They simply don't realize the risks of their reckless actions." Jessica clenched her fists, heat pooling in her chest. Why was he still trying to manipulate the truth? Did he really believe he could play the victim? The crowd stood strong, holding their collective breath, waiting for their moment to speak. "Officer," urged Angela, taking a step forward. "We're not causing trouble. We're standing up for our rights. Tom here has been lying to us, taking advantage of our community for far too long. We have evidence. The officer's brow furrowed as he considered Angela's words. But before he could respond, Lisa raised her phone again, determined. This goes beyond us, she shouted, her voice piercing through the murmurs of the crowd. We've got documented proof of the corruption. It's time people knew the truth. In an instant, Lisa's phone lit up, its screen reflecting the faces surrounding her. Jessica's heart raced as she watched the flicker of hope wash over the crowd. The officer leaned closer, a hint of curiosity breaking through his authoritative demeanor. Documented proof? He echoed. What do you mean? Tom's face contorted, irritation bubbling beneath the surface. This is absurd, he snapped, trying to shield his own growing panic. You're all grasping at straws. I'll have you know that spreading rumors like this can lead to serious consequences. But their hope was solidifying, and Jessica felt her resolve deepen. No more consequences for us, Tom. We're done living in fear of people like you, she shouted, her voice ringing out clear and strong. As whispers of agreement rippled through the crowd, the police officer adjusted his stance, now unsure how to navigate this situation. People shifted, glancing at each other, hope blooming amidst their fear. Let us see this proof, he finally said, his tone leveling with an authoritative but cautious nod. If what you're saying is true, then we need to do something about it. Tom's eyes widened, and for the first time, doubt seeped into his facade. Jessica and her friends took steps closer together, bolstered by the officer's words. The crowd surged behind them, their collective strength weaving through the looming uncertainty. Right here, Lisa said, tapping at her phone furiously. Prepare to be shocked, Tom. The truth is going to break your hold over us. Just as she was about to hit send, an ear-splitting siren blared in the distance, cutting through the fragile tension. The crowd froze, eyes darting toward the noise. Fear and uncertainty mingled again. What now? Jessica felt the illusion of safety weighing. The officer turned his head, his focus shifting distracted. I have to check that out. Hang tight. He immobilized himself only for a moment, unable to resist glancing at the throng gathering with more urgency. Don't you dare think you can run away, Mark shouted at Tom, emboldened. You might be able to hide for now, but it's over for you. Tom's face turned dark, resignation mixing with his rage. He locked eyes with Jessica, an intensity so fierce it burned into her soul. What will you do next? Jessica whispered under her breath, heart pounding, knowing everything was reaching a breaking point. And as the screeching sirens grew closer, the crowd swelled with anticipation, while Jessica clutched the wave of courage building inside her. They'd already come this far together, but would it be enough? Would their quest for truth be silenced once again, or would they ignite a fire of change that could not be extinguished? The silence that followed the siren was almost deafening, a charged stillness as everyone's eyes darted between Tom, the officer, and the approaching chaos. Jessica could feel the beating of her heart in her throat. It was a sudden reminder that while they might be on the edge of a breakthrough, they were also perched precariously on the edge of disaster. Lisa's finger hovered above her phone screen, the tension making her movements feel slow and heavy. Just give me a second, she mumbled, her focus flailing between the officers emerging from the distance and the phone in her hand. Jessica could almost see the fear creeping up Lisa's spine, the electrifying weight of what was at stake hanging in the air. The commotion grew, sirens blazing as two squad cars careened through the crowd, tires squealing, lights flashing in a disorienting dance. It was like a storm had rolled in, heavy and foreboding, threatening to wash away the fragile hope they had worked so hard to cultivate. Hang on, Lisa, Angela urged, stepping close to her friend, shielding her as the chaos unfolded. Jessica watched, the crowd oscillating between panic and determination. The officer turned back, no longer just an observer, but now an active participant in their fight. Okay, let us regroup, he called out, attempting to rouse the crowd. I need all of you to stay calm. Tom shifted uneasily, looking like a caged animal trapped in a zero-sum game. Jessica could see the doubt creeping into his eyes, weighing down his veneer of control. You can't just barge in here and shut it, Tom. Mark interjected, fueled by adrenaline. This is your moment to face the music. We have the evidence you've wanted to hide. With a swift movement, Lisa finally pressed the button, sending the images flying across the crowd's anxious faces. Gasps echoed as the proof scaled through the air, the deceitful practices Tom had orchestrated laid bare for all to see. The crowd leaned in, the spectral glow of light reflecting hope in their eyes. The officer stepped closer to Jessica and her group. "What have you got?" he demanded, urgency underlining his keynotes. The weight of the moment felt colossal, and Jessica could sense the crackle of anticipation rise in the air again. Lisa turned the screen toward the officer. "We've collected documents, emails, transaction logs. Everything shows his manipulation of our community. We've got the proof to back it up." As the officer began scrolling through the images appearing on Lisa's phone, a deep breath of surprise burst from him. This is serious." Those words felt like a newfound spark in the misty air, the kind of flame that could light the way through the oppressive dark. But even with that glimmer of hope, Tom's demeanor shifted dramatically. "You fools," he screamed, the tremor in his voice betraying his facade. "You think this changes anything? You're only digging your own graves." Jessica stepped forward. Her throat was dry, but she fought to keep her voice steady. "We're no longer afraid of you, Tom. You've controlled us for too long. Your threats mean nothing to us now." The fire behind her words ignited not just her own spirit, but the resolve of those standing behind her. The crowd murmured in agreement, a wave of collective strength surging among them. The officer straightened up, determination glinting in his eyes. "I'm placing you under investigation, Tom. You won't slip away this time." But just as the mood shifted into something celebratory, a stranger emerged from the growing crowd, pushing through the throng. Dressed sharply, he commanded attention, eyes darting between the faces around him. "That's not all you need to know," he called out, voice ringing with authority and something darker. Jessica felt her stomach drop as the crowd turned toward this unexpected newcomer. Who was he? And what did he mean by not all they needed to know? With adrenaline surging, she knew this was far from over. The truth felt like a double-edged sword, and everything was about to shift once again. The crowd fell silent, a heavy anticipation thickening the air as the stranger stepped forward. His eyes gleamed with a mix of arrogance and amusement, as if he thrived on the tension he created. Jessica felt her breath catch in her throat. Who was this man? And why did he look like he already knew the storm that was about to break? "Who are you?" Tom barked, his voice shaking but his posture still defiant. "You have no business here." "Oh, but I do." The man smiled, revealing a set of perfect teeth that contrasted sharply with the turmoil around them. "My name is Victor, and I assure you, I possess information that may change your little revolt entirely." The crowd shifted uneasily, faces painted with curiosity and fear. Jessica could see Lisa clutching her phone tighter, sweat trickling down her temple. It was as if they had turned a corner, plunging deeper into murky waters instead of emerging into the light. "What do you want?" Mark shouted, stepping forward, eyes narrowed. He was protective of the group, ready to shield everyone from Victor's potential manipulation. Victor glanced at Mark with faint amusement. "Want? There's nothing I want from you. I simply offer an opportunity to understand the bigger picture." His tone dripped with confidence, an unsettling aura surrounding him. "You see, Tom isn't the only one at fault. There are deeper hands in this game, far bigger than you can imagine." A tremor of doubt rippled through the crowd, the vibrant hope built just moments ago flickering like a candle in a draft. Angela leaned closer to Jessica, whispering, "What does he mean?" It was a question hanging in the air, thick and heavy, and Jessica felt the weight of it settle on her shoulders. She opened her mouth to respond, but Victor continued, captivating the people's attention once more. "Tom here pretended to orchestrate things, but he was just a puppet," Victor said, waving his hand dismissively. "The real power lies with those who keep the strings in their hands. If you're looking for the truth, you're looking in the wrong place. What you have," he pointed toward Lisa's phone, "is just the tip of the iceberg." Panic coursed through Jessica's veins. They had fought so hard, risked everything to confront Tom, only to be led straight into a deeper, unknown abyss. "What do you mean?" she blurted out. "What are you talking about?" Victor's expression shifted, his eyes narrowing. "Come with me. I can show you the realities you haven't seen. I can help you uncover everything. But it's not going to be pretty." And Tom, he laughed, a cold, hollow sound. "Just the surface of your problems." Jessica's heart raced as the crowd murmured in confusion and irritation. Part of her wanted to dismiss him, to believe they had made progress on their own without interference. But the other part, the part that could taste the danger lurking just out of reach, simmered with trepidation. Mark shook his head, resolutely stepping back. "You're lying. You just want to confuse us." "Am I?" Victor replied, tilting his head, eyebrows arched. Suddenly, he was a predator circling a vulnerable prey. "Why don't you find out for yourselves? Or remain blissfully unaware about the real powers at play?" As he spoke, Jessica saw Tom's bravado waning, that little crack in the armor giving way. He was losing control, and it felt like she was watching an unraveling spell. Victor smirked, watching the tension glide through the crowd, as if feeding off the newfound uncertainty. "I can answer your questions, guide you through the layers of deceit, but it will cost you. Are you willing to risk everything for the real truth?" Jessica exchanged anxious glances with Lisa and Angela, the decision intensifying as sweat dripped from her brow. They had already taken one leap into darkness, but this felt like standing on a cliff's edge. Are we willing to step further into the unknown, knowing everything could change? She thought, heart pounding loud and fast. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, her voice firm. "Let us hear what you have to say. But we're not following you blind." Victor's smile widened, a glimmer of something sinister flickering in his eyes. "Now, my dear Jessica, that is what I was hoping for. Let us begin unveiling the truth." And as the crowd leaned in, an unseen force pulling them together, Jessica felt the grip of fear mixed with determination. Little did they know, the truth that awaited closer was more twisted than they could ever imagine. What other secrets loomed, threatening to blow their fragile unity apart? The air around Jessica buzzed with tension as Victor began revealing the layers of deception. "You see," he said, voice smooth and controlled, "what you've stumbled upon is just a local facade. The real games are played at levels you can't even perceive. Tom is merely a pawn." Jessica's heart raced. Here they were, fighting for their community, for their lives, and now this stranger dazzled them with tangled truths. "Are you saying there's more than just Tom?" she questioned, desperation clawing at her mind. Victor nodded, his gaze piercing. "Much more. It's the corporations, the investors backing Tom's empire. They thrive on chaos and fear. The suffering of your families feeds their growth. If you want real change, you'll need to dig deeper than you ever thought possible." The murmurs of the crowd intensified, collective uncertainty mixing with curiosity. Was it all true? Lisa shifted, tightening her grip on her phone, her eyes glimmering with intent. "We can't just walk away from what we've uncovered, even if it means facing larger foes," she said, courage brightening her features. Tom's arrogance began to crack. "You're naive if you think you can take on systems that powerful," he blurted, his confidence shaking under the pressure of their revolt and Victor's revelation. "You're all just getting in over your heads." "We already are," Jessica shot back, feeling the fire within her flicker back to life. "You've made life unbearable for families like mine. You've silenced the truth for too long. If you're in it, then we're coming for you." Victor, sensing the shift, gestured to the crowd. "Are you ready to uncover everything? To challenge every truth you've believed? Together?" Jessica felt a wave of strength ripple through her, with all the eyes upon her fueling her resolve. "We've come too far to turn back. We can't let fear dictate our decisions," she declared, voice strong. "This is our community. We will fight for it." Angela stepped up, bolstered by Jessica's words. "Let us hold Tom accountable. If we band together, we can expose the web of deceit and demand real change." The crowd erupted into a chorus of agreement, unity pulsing like electricity through them. The fear that had once gripped them began to dissipate, and excitement ignited an unbreakable energy within their spheres. "Then let us organize," Victor urged, his demeanor shifting, no longer the predator, but a guide. "But understand this, the path ahead won't be easy. You face powerful interests who won't go down without a fight." Jessica saw it clearly now. The storm wasn't just brewing, it was upon them. They would need a resilient strategy and the community's full backing to stand against Tom and the looming corporations he served. As plans began bubbling over within the crowd, Jessica stepped back, a temporary pause settling over her. She watched as families joined hands, neighbors whispered dialogues, and courage flourished. But deep down, shadows lurked. The fight wouldn't just be against Tom. It would be against a system rooted in exploitation. We can't just scratch the surface, Jessica whispered to Lisa, worry nodding her gut. Lisa met Jessica's gaze, determination replacing any hint of doubt. Let us make sure they see us. We owe it to our community to fight for justice. For every face here. As the night settled over them, Jessica could feel that the coming days wouldn't just be about a local confrontation. They would be about reshaping a narrative that had gone unchallenged for far too long. Together, they would rise, refuse to be silenced, and expose the rotten core of greed and manipulation that threatened to consume them. Forward, Jessica declared, heart swelling with hope and love for her community. In that moment of solidarity, she realized they were more than just individuals steeped in fear. They were a family, brave, resilient, and ready to face the storm together. Are you with us? She called out, her voice echoing into the night. They roared with unity, a declaration of war against oppression reverberating through Maplewood. This was just the beginning of the change they had fought for, an awakening that would change lives forever. It's time to harness that energy. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that can inspire your own journey. Leave a like now to help fuel the algorithm and allow more warriors like Jessica to find their voice. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and understand that together, we have the power to fight for what is right. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support, because together, we can make a difference.